600,000 prisoners only leave from prison every year. And all we talk about is the recidivism rate, highlighting failures. But this is a new time now. It's time to celebrate. Time to admire. Time to honor those who got out of prison and never looked back. Doing something with themselves and their lives while giving back. This is the reentry journey. I am your host, Cornell Sims.
Oh man, we are back. Hey man, first of all, welcome to the reentry journey. I am your host, Cordell Sims, and man, we were so busy chopping it backstage that we almost forgot to come in for the podcast. But welcome everybody to it. My guest this week, this brother's out here doing some amazing things. We always seem to keep in contact with each other throughout the year. Check in on each other to see where we're going, bounce off ideas, and just share our knowledge of the game that we're learning in the process of the work that we're doing. And I highly appreciate this brother and the work that he does. Our guest today on the reentry journey is Mr. David Gethers, and just let me explain, break down his bio for you, so you can really understand, what the brother really does. Mr. Gethers is a disabled veteran. He's the founder of Dad Speaks LLC and the author of WeakDay Remedies. And what WeakDay Remedies is a transformational journal. He is an expert on successful reentry, transformation and transition, and cognitive behavior. He's created programs and frameworks that addresses prevention, diversion, and reentry. He assisted justice-impacted veterans, justice-impacted youth, justice-impacted citizens overcome various barriers that they face. Using his book, WeakDay Remedies, journaling exercises and interactive workshop, Mr. Gethers, Dave has created a transformational framework that helps others defy the odds. No further ado, I'd like to welcome to the reentry journey, Mr. David Gethers. Welcome to the reentry journey, brother.
What's going on, Cardell, man? Hey, it's good to be with you again, man. Every time we talk, it's a wonderful opportunity. It's a wonderful conversation. I leave inspired, motivated, and impacted. And so anytime I get a chance to connect with you, I'm always looking forward to it. And I just want you to know you can always tag me in whenever you need a tag, a break, or whatever. You can always call on me to just like, hey, bro, I need your help in some shape, form, or fashion. And I'm here to rock out with you, man, because, we have similar journeys, and we made it to the other side. And it's our responsibility to help those coming along beside us and behind us to make it to the other side as well. Because I tell people everywhere I go, I don't want to be the only successful person in the room. I want other men and women who get out of prison to experience the same success that I've experienced. And so I've taken everything I've learned, I packaged it, put it together, and I'm out here, helping men and women that look like you and I, on this reentry journey become successful.
Right. And it's crazy because I ain't gonna say it's crazy because me and you, like, we can go 4 or 5 months and then we hit each other up, be like, brother Cardell, like, oh man, what's going on? And we'll talk about things that we're doing, how we're doing it, the strategies behind it. Like, we really break it down. And in this field, what I've come to realize of what I've seen over time, and other people that come to me or I have conversation with, they be like, man, I asked such and such or such and such, and they don't want to give me the game, or they trying to charge me. But with us, it ain't no, we don't charge each other, none of that. We just look at, man, this strategy I'm using, you might want to try to implement this, or this is how I came across that. Where does that genuine love come from, as far as saying, some people, they try to put a price tag on it?
Man, I grew up in the hood, and I didn't have nothing growing up. I tell people I'm from Chicago, My community was underserved, underfunded, and under-resourced. But the one thing that was unique about my community is, man, we believed in each other, we locked arms with each other, and we supported each other. And so, and just to be frank, there's enough money out there for all of us to be successful. So, what do I look like trying to charge you to give you some information that's going to help you be successful? I
Right.
mean, we get grants. There's organizations out there getting grants to help men and women who have been formerly incarcerated. So if me and you run across each other and we share strategies and frameworks and workshops that can help us grow our own personal business, I think that's what we should do for each other, man. Because you in Missouri, I'm here in Texas and operating in Chicago. There's enough space across the country that me and you we're not competing for the same contracts. We're not competing for the same prisons. We're not competing for the same organizations. So why shouldn't I share what I got with you so that you can use it in Missouri or in Arizona and all the other places that I am not? So I don't have that. And then I think it goes even deeper than that to slave mentality, man, where we're pitted one against the other. And so,
Straight up.
you my enemy, you look like me, but you my enemy. We got this house slave and this field slave, and we got these two different mentalities. And my job is not to help the house slave, and the house slave is not to help the field slave. Man, I ain't with none of that, man. You one of the guys. You've been through the same thing that I've been through. You trying to get to the top. I'm trying to get to the top. There's a whole lot of room at the top here. You use this ladder. I'm going to use this ladder. I'm going to give you some nails and some hammers. You're going to give me some wood and some paper. We're going to build on our prospective sides of the street, and we're going to get to the top. We're going to be successful, and we're going to keep helping everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, most definitely. I think that's what it is, man. And to like with me, to me it is, man. I give it to it how it was given to me. You know, I even though I have a webinar and I teach people how to do this, majority of the times, really 99% of the time, if someone calls me or message me and we in the same field and they ask me what I'm teaching in my webinar and stuff like that, and I'm charging, I still give it to them, no charge, no, because I've been there. I know what you're trying to do. I know your struggles coming out of prison trying to make this happen. So I'm just gonna give you the game so you can not have to go and weave around some of the things that I had to weave around that you ain't got to do. Only thing on the other end, my thing is, once you figure it out, give it away to somebody else.
And here goes the thing, Cardell. I could tell you. So I teach a decision making workshop. Everybody, right. You can go on the website and see what I do. It's no secret. Because here goes the thing. You can go teach the same decision making workshop I teach. But guess what you can't do? You can't be me.
Exactly.
I got my own style. I got my own delivery. I got my own swag, and you can't duplicate that. So I'm not afraid to tell you that this is what I teach. This is what I do. Because when I get on the stage, when I get into that classroom, when I get in front of the people, you can't be me. You can't duplicate me, man. So I don't have nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah. And that's what it is. Like, you don't have nothing to be afraid of. So you talked about you're from Chicago, you grew up in Chicago. What was that like?
Oh man. So like I said, it was underserved, underfunded, under-resourced. As far as hope and opportunity, there was none. I mean, I grew up in a community called Inglewood back in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s.
Okay.
And the community was, gang infested, drug riddled, dilapidated. I mean, it was just, man, it was rough, man. I grew up on the hard side of the city. And so for me, my way of escape was joining the United States Marine Corps. Okay. Because college wasn't an opportunity. I didn't even have a conversation with nobody about college. My mama used to tell me two things: you either gonna get a job when you graduate, or you're gonna go to the military. One or the other. The average cat in my community, by 18, they locked up in jail or they dead. If they make it to 25, they have no idea what they're going to do with their life, because they still at home with their mama, still on the block, still doing all the same crazy things. And so I was fortunate enough to be able to join the United States Marine Corps. So that was my way of escape from Chicago. And I thought I was going to be in the Marine Corps for like 20, 25 years. I was like, look, hey, if this is my way out of Chicago and never returning, I'm taking it, because I knew Chicago didn't have nothing to offer me. So I get into the Marine Corps and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, this is it. I'm loving it. I'm doing my thing. And around about year 4 of being in the military, I had ulnar reconstructive surgery on my right hand. It was a training accident, and this training accident caused me to shatter my ulnar bone, and it caused severe damage to my ulnar nerve. And for those of you who don't know, the ulnar nerve is basically your funny bone. And so that bone and that nerve, it really starts at the tip of your finger, and it goes all the way up into your shoulder. So I had reconstructive surgery on that bone and that nerve. It was a 3-part surgery. I was in a cast for 2 years, and I mean, I was screwed up. It was over with. I shared that because that injury ended my military career. Okay. So I was forced to go back to Chicago because I didn't have that. I'm only on year 4. I hadn't amassed anything so that I could stay where I was. Where I was at. So I wasn't expecting to leave in year 4. I was just getting started. I was just having fun.
Right.
Pretty much just getting out of boot camp, just getting out of my MOS school and all of that stuff, just getting my foot on the ground. And then all of a sudden I get injured and I got to go back to Chicago. And so within 90 days of being out of the military, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm mad, I'm disappointed. I'm going through this transition that I'm not prepared for. I'm back in a place that I do not want to be, and not using any of those things for no excuses. But I get into a fight, and this fight led to me taking somebody else's life. Okay. And so that started my journey of incarceration. And I was given, in 1998, I was given a 30-year prison sentence. And so my actual out date is September the 12th, 2028. But when I got in prison, they took a deeper dive into my case and really looked at it, and they saw that, okay, this isn't our typical first-degree murder case in Chicago. They saw that, hey, this dude is a highly decorated soldier. He had just came home. I wasn't even home 90 days. So make a long story short, they really looked into it. And so they took the 30-year sentence back and they turned it into a 15-year prison sentence. And I told them, I said, I'm cool with that because I need to be held accountable for my actions, regardless of the circumstance and the situation. At the end of the day, I took somebody's life and I need to be held accountable for that.
Right.
So I was cool with the 15-year prison sentence. I took the 15-year prison sentence. I went in jail. And, immediately in jail, I just started getting my life together and started planning for what I was going to do when I got out of prison. And so it was during those 15 years that I started putting the plan together. But not only did I put the plan together while I was in prison, I started implementing it because I started helping guys on the inside learn how to read, learn how to write. They would come to me for counseling to talk to me about, life and all the things that they're going through. I'm sitting there, mediating disputes between gang members and altercations and all this stuff. So I immediately became that go-to person who kept the peace, if you will. Right. And I was like, man, I like this. I enjoy empowering other people and helping them transform their life to help them be better. And so that's pretty much how I started all the programs that I do right now. I started them right there in jail my job, and so the warden saw what I was doing and he enjoyed it. So my job became a peer educator in prison.
Oh man.
And so every guy who came into prison had to go through a week of workshops with me. And for every guy who went home from prison, had to go through a week of workshops with me. And so, of course,
you was already doing the work before you even came out.
Yeah, man.
You was already doing the reentry work. You know, you saying right before they came home, or right before they went home, they had to take a week too. You was already working.
Yeah, so, man. They did a week. It was called dang, I forget the name of the program. But it was like 2 months before they went home. They had to come sit in this class with me for a whole week, and I taught them our sexual education classes, taught them financial literacy classes. I taught them decision-making classes, emotional intelligence classes, anger management, steps to success, business program. I just gave them all the tools that they would need in order to put themselves in position to be successful when they got out of prison. It was called pre-entry. That was the name. It was called a pre-entry program. And so all I did is took all of that stuff that I was doing in prison. One, I came home and did it myself. And two, once I did it and became successful, I started teaching these other organizations who want to help individuals getting out. And so I created frameworks. I done created even more workshops. And man, I've been out of prison, Cordell, now 9 years. And I have done more in 9 years than I got accomplished the first 41 years of my life.
So some people gonna be watching this and they getting out of prison. They've been out of prison. They gonna say it just wasn't that easy. You just didn't get out. You ran into some hurdles, some obstacles, or something you faced when you got out after 15 years. What was that like?
So and look, and it's interesting. So immediately, as I walked out the door, so you know how as you leave and we walk down like the little gate or the little tunnel or whatever, and a guard walks us to the exit gate. And at the exit gate, we're waiting on if we get on the bus to get on the bus, or we wait on our family members. But so we take this walk, and so the guard is telling me as we take this walk, he was like, "Gethers, you're gonna be back within 1 to 3 years." And so I'm looking at this cat like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, man, you're gonna be back within 1 to 3 years." He said, "I'll be here when you get here." I said, "Why do you say that?" His words to me was this exactly. He said, "You ain't shit, you don't got shit, and you ain't gonna be shit." He said, "So you gonna be back." And I was just like, damn. Now, only reason why I didn't get mad is because the truth of the matter is he was just echoing what he done seen over the last 15, 20 years as a correctional officer, and what the narrative that they share on the news and in society on a daily basis. I mean, when you look at statistics, 75% of guys getting out of prison go back within 1 to 3 years. The recidivism rate is 75%.
That's what it is.
So everybody, not only was he expecting me to fail, but society was expecting me to fail. And on top of that, there are barriers that's put in place to ensure that I fail.
Exactly.
But I was like, you know what? I'm not the typical cat. I'm a soldier. In spite of all that I've been through, at the end of the day, I'm a soldier.
Right.
And United States Marine Corps taught me one thing and one thing only, and that's how to win at all costs. The Marine Corps taught me how to win every war and every battle at all costs. Marines don't retreat. We don't run. We don't hide. We fight to the death. And so I was either going to change, I was going to win this battle of transformation, or I was going to die. That was my thoughts going into this. So that was my first obstacle. My second obstacle was I applied to go to college. And when I applied to go to college, the college tells me that I can't be a student because of my criminal background.
Oh no.
I'm like, what? So now that's my second barrier. I'm like, so I started asking myself, like, is it really going to be difficult for me to put my life back together? And so here go my third obstacle. This is what I was like, oh yeah, man, I'm screwed. I'm just going to keep 100% honest. So then I ain't going to say her name, but I tried to date this girl. And so, the girl tells me, she's like, I can't be with you because you're an ex-felon. And I can't imagine the type of life we would have if I were to be with you. So I'm like, the security guard don't believe in me and is killing my dreams. The school don't believe in me and they killing my dreams. The woman don't believe in me. She killing my dreams. I'm like, I mean, is this a lost cause moving forward? I mean, but again, I'm a Marine. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to allow these setbacks or these barriers or these disappointments. I'm not going to allow these things to derail my future.
Right.
So I went on I fought the school about their policies and I ended up becoming a student. And so in 2016, I graduated with my bachelor's degree in communications from Governor State University. I went on to get my master's degree in urban ministry leadership from Olivet Nazarene University. I started my business in 2015. Excuse me. I started my own publishing company. With my publishing company, I produced my first book, WeakDay Remedies, WEAK Remedies. And from there, man, hey, like I told you, I've been out here teaching people the game, showing people how to overcome adversity, how to deal with barriers, and how to face challenges with your head up, with your shoulders squared back, and win the battle of transitioning at all costs.
Right. Right. So you was talking about, them obstacles that you faced. And you seen you a Marine, it's seen you to go to the death, to win at all costs. So you already know giving up wasn't an option. Was there for somebody right now that's out of prison and they done been told no, doors been slammed in their face, you know how the game goes. What advice would you give them right now to not give up? Outside, what would you say to them to tell them not to give up?
So I'll give them the 3-step process of my workshops of success.
Okay.
I will tell them no matter what you're going through, your attitude is going to determine your destination. Do you have a winner's attitude or do you have a loser's attitude? Do you have a victor's attitude or do you have a victim's attitude? Do you have the attitude that no matter what I face, I'm going to win, or no matter what I face, I'm going to lose? So the first step is you have got to have a winning attitude. I'm going to win at all costs. I'm going to do it legally. I'm going to do it fair, but I'm going to win at all costs. I do not believe in losing. Right. I don't care what the obstacles are. I don't care what the circumstances are. I don't care what the barriers are. I don't care what the challenges are. I am going to win. I am a winner. And nothing I face in life can take that attitude from me. I am a winner. And so I would tell anybody, first of all, what is your attitude? And your attitude has got to be authentic. You can't fake it. You can't shake it. You can't do nothing. If you don't have this strong attitude, hey, man, it's going to wipe you under. It is what it is.
Yeah, straight up. It's going to take you, that attitude, it's going to take you under.
And so my second thing I would tell them is, what do you believe? So the first step to being successful after any adversity, prison, separation from your wife or your girlfriend, losing a child, losing a job, door slammed in your face. I don't care what the adversity is. If you're going to win the battle of transitioning, first thing is, where's your attitude? Second thing is, what do you believe? What do you believe? And I'm not primarily talking about do you believe in God or you don't believe in God, but what are your morals? What are your values? What are your principles? What do you stand on? What do you believe? Do you believe it's possible or do you believe it's not possible? Do you believe you can do it or do you believe you cannot do it? Do you believe you got what it takes or do you don't believe what you do? You believe all the positive stuff you're hearing or are you believing all the negative stuff you're hearing? What do you believe? Your belief is important because if your belief is negative and if your belief is low, you're not going to put in the effort. You're not going to put in the time. You're not going to do what it takes because you don't even believe it's worth it. I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that all the work I put in is worth what I'm going to get out in the end. I believe in the return of investment. Therefore, I'm going to put in the work. I believe if I eat right and work out, I'm going to be healthy, and I am. I believe if I educate myself and read books, it will propel me forward in life. It has. I believe if I surround myself with the right people and I do the right thing, that I will be successful in life. It's happening. What do you believe? Third, and finally, what choices are you making? Because we make choices based on our attitude and based on what we believe. We begin to make choices. And so we're either going to make good choices or we're going to make bad choices. And when you got the right attitude, when you believe in yourself and you're making the right choices, then it's going to lead you to a positive destination. And that's what I would tell anybody facing transition. Hey, you got this. Is there going to be obstacles? Absolutely. Are there going to be pitfalls? Absolutely. Are you going to still make a few mistakes? Absolutely. But do not let the obstacles, pitfalls, barriers, or the mistakes make you doubt the path. Don't let nothing make you doubt the path. When I walked out of prison, I knew I was going to be the number one motivational speaker in the world. I knew when I walked out of prison, I was going to have the best reentry program in the world. I knew when I walked out of prison that I was going to be on stages all across America helping people put their lives back together. I knew it, I believed it, and I made the choices to make it happen. But the guard tried to tear me down. The school tried to deny me. And a woman tried to crush my spirit.
Yeah, straight up.
But I didn't let none of those obstacles make me doubt the path. None of them. I forged ahead anyway. I looked at them as enemies. I put them behind me, and I kept on moving forward. And I'm a firm believer, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Straight up. So before we go on to my next questions, we got some people tuned in, so I just want to let you know everyone is commenting and things. If you have any questions, just type your questions in the comment, and they will get answered. So, WeakDay Remedies. Let's talk about that. How did that come about?
So my mother, believe it or not, my mother is the catalyst for WeakDay Remedies.
Okay.
So now what I didn't share with you all, and I'll share with you now, like on day 2 or 3, when I was in prison, I got into a fight and I ended up going to segregation. And my mother came to visit me. So now I got this piece of paper that has my out date on it. It says 2028. We in 1990.
1990. Yeah. I don't think people understand. I mean, I ain't gonna say people don't understand it, but what's that like? Understand that you in prison in 1998 and they give you a piece of paper They most likely slid it under your door and you get it, and it's telling you you're not going home to 2028.
Man, you know what we said, man, you got a Buck Rogers outdate.
Yeah, you got Buck Rogers, yeah.
You know, and so that's like life in prison, basically. And so, Cardell, man, truthfully speaking, man, I thought about committing suicide right there in prison. I was like, I can't do this. It's nowhere in the world I'm going to live like this for the next 30 years. And so my mother, she came to visit me. And I remember her telling me, she looked me dead in my face. And it's like she just knew. She looked me dead in my face and she said, son, if you don't give up on me, I will not give up on you. And together we're going to make it. And I was like, we going to make it? You about to go home and sleep in a king size bed and take a shower and all that stuff. I'm behind these bars. That's a whole nother reality. But she held my hands and said, we gonna make it. And I'll never forget, she came back a week later and she brought me a book. And it was a journal. And she said, God told me to tell you to start collecting your thoughts, to start writing in this journal. And so I will begin writing in this journal on January the 4th, 2000. And I will begin to write for the next 13 years. And I tell people, I wrote my way to transformation. And I just simply started writing in this journal. And I just wrote whatever came to mind, Cardell, whatever I was feeling, whatever I was thinking, whatever I was reading about, whatever I watched on TV, whatever I witnessed or experienced in prison that day. I just started writing about all type of stuff. And I had no idea that my journal entries would actually become my first book. And so I would just read. I would just write and write and write. And so towards the end of my journey in prison, God gave me the word WeakDay Remedies, WEAK Day Remedies. And he told me, he said, your journal entries will be the catalyst to help other people get their life together. And I was like, wow, okay. And so I started mentoring some young men in Chicago, and the young men asked me, could they read my journal entries? And so I ended up putting the journals together in a nice format. I let these young men read them. We started journaling. We started journaling and talking about them. And that's how the first book came together, WeakDay Remedies. And so it's a collection of journals that I wrote in prison. And what makes my book unique is they're handwritten. So I didn't clean the book up. It's still in its original format. And people get to read journal entries that I wrote. And then on the very next page, they get the journal for themselves.
Okay. So where can they get the book?
So they can get the copy of the journal from Amazon. They can go right on there, type in my name, type in the WeakDay Remedies, or they can go to my website, which is Defy The Odds -DAG.com to order the book, or they can email me at dagspeaks.com and order the book directly from me. But yeah, so they have 3 ways of getting this journal. And I think it's a remarkable journal that's helping people all across America.
Okay. Also, we do got one question. One question says, it says, how does prison programming compare to yours?
I wouldn't compare my program to prison programs. Every program is different. Every program has its own nuances about it. And I'm a firm believer that every program has its own audience. And so my program is taught by me, somebody who has lived experience, somebody who has went through the transformation process himself, and someone who has came out on the other side. So I think what makes me different or unique is I am a living witness that the program works. I put in the effort. And everything I teach people, I went through myself. And for me, the proof was in the pudding. 2 degrees, a business, a publishing company, an author, and I travel all over the country. And I did all of this within the last 9 years. So my success is proof that my program works.
Exactly. And say for those that want to follow in the footsteps and the footprints of what you're doing. We see a lot of formerly incarcerated people getting out now, and they want to become speakers. They want to start. They want to become entrepreneurs. They want to build programs. Explain what it takes to get from the walking out of prison to exactly where you at today.
I would tell people,
like you just didn't end up here just by accident.
No, you have to design your plan of success. You have to design, and my path isn't for everybody. Your path isn't for everybody. And one of the classes I teach men and women getting out of prison is, what is success for you? And we sit down and we talk about it. You don't want to be me. You want to be successful, but you don't want to be me. What do you want to be? Some people just don't ever want to go back to prison. Some people just want to put their families back together. Some people probably just want to get a GED, or some people want to get a good paying job, or get a house, or get a car, or just live their life. So first of all, we try to figure out what is success according to you. What will make you happy with your life? And once we figure out what is success according to them, then we begin to map out a plan to help them become successful in what is best for them. Because me being who I am is success. For you, if you doing what you're doing is success. All success doesn't look the same. So I just try to help people become successful in whatever it is and whatever path they want to take.
Right. Yeah, I think it's important. And if you really and if you're trying to get in this field and do that, they got to understand that this don't happen in 1 year or 2 years. Like this goes over like the people I look up to, you and Andre Normans and things. This thing's like y'all 9, 10, 15, 20 years in the game, and I'm like, oh, I'm still in the process. I think a lot of people forget the process. There's a process to this, and in this process, there's certain characteristics and certain things that you're going to have to show and going to have to do to get to this point. Like I wake up every day. When I first started really grinding this, when I came out of prison, I'm like 2 jobs. I got to get a life coaching degree. I got to do this. I got to do that, and I already had all this written down. And then it just didn't stop right there. Like this keeps going. Even with the journey, it keeps going. And so I think it's for people to know when you get out of prison, no matter what your definition of success is, you're gonna have to work.
You're gonna definitely have to put in that work
to make it happen and to keep it.
Yeah,
like I always tell people like, man, the goal in when I'm teaching in my classes in prison, I tell them the goal ain't just walking down, because some people say, man, my goal is walk down probation. No, the goal ain't walk down your state parole or your federal probation. I know a lot of people that walk down their parole and their probation and caught a whole other case and went back. You got to figure out what the true success for you is. If it's like you said, if it's returning, not returning to prison again, that's when you got to put work in on that.
Yeah, and I will be honest and tell people this: what you and I do is not for everybody.
Exactly.
Everybody who get out of prison ain't cut out to start reentry programs. They just ain't. That's why I say we all got to figure out what success is for us. Like you and I, we was chopping it up in the green room, and we was talking about, you can't go into the reentry space trying to solve all of the reentry problems.
No, you can't do it.
You got to find your little niche area and just focus on that, because this is a very huge space. Reentry has been around for over 200 years, and the problems with reentry have been around for over 200 years. So what makes you think you finna get out of prison and you finna solve all the problems overnight?
Overnight. And it's bigger than that. It's
bigger than us, man.
The person that asked the question about the prison program, he says, but the recidivism rates are representatives of the kind of programming in prison. He says, they don't. I agree with that. I agree that the recidivism rate is based on the programs and the opportunities that is offered inside of prison.
Right. We need better programming. We need better programming. We need better facilitators. We need to change the narrative as a whole when it comes to justice impacted citizens. Like, for one, I don't call them ex-felons. I call them justice impacted citizens, because you're still a human being. You're still a man. You're still a woman. You're still a son, a daughter, a mother, a father. You're still a human. And we have to treat you like that. And we have to be willing to give you opportunities and second chances. And so I'm going to present you with opportunities and second chances. I'm going to give you resources. I'm going to give you programming that you need that's going to put you in position to be successful. But you got to do your part also. And so I think reentry is a collective thing. President Roosevelt said, during his presidency, he said that if a man or a woman comes out of prison and he has not been rehabilitated, we as a society has failed him. President Roosevelt felt it was important to bridge the gap on whatever caused the individual to go to prison in the first place, to eliminate that barrier so that crime would not be an alternative to begin with. And so President Roosevelt was about rehabilitation. But the truth of the matter is, some 60, 70 years later, prison isn't about rehabilitation. It's about incarceration and public safety. So the programming that they offer, or the lack thereof, isn't about rehabilitating you or making you a better citizen. So part of your rehabilitation, you have to take responsibility for yourself. I read over 300 books while I was in prison. That was self-improvement. That was self-rehabilitation. I changed my mindset. That was self-rehabilitation. I changed my belief system. That was self-rehabilitation. I made better choices and determined who I was going to hang out with. That was self-rehabilitation. I mean, I can't say nothing about the system. It is what it is. Right. It's the barrier. It's my responsibility to rehabilitate me no matter what. No matter what. And that's why I tell people, yeah, there's a system in place. There was adversity, barriers, and challenges that I had to face. But again, I'm a Marine. And so guess what? In spite of the obstacles, I found a way to win. I rehabilitated myself. Now, I had help. I ain't saying I'm a one-man person, but what I'm saying is rehabilitation started with me. I made the decision that I wanted better for my life. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to go back to prison. I didn't want to be a disappointment to my family anymore. I didn't want to be a disappointment to society anymore. I wanted better for me.
Exactly. And that's what it really boils down to. Like, you got to want better for you. Like, me, I've been in it. I was out there tripping, been in and out of prison 4 or 5 times until I'm sitting there in front of the federal government. And I'm like, man, I'm tripping. Like, I got to do something about this. What? Because ain't nobody else going to do. I wasn't expecting for no prison to rehabilitate me. I wasn't expecting I had to do this myself by any means necessary. And I, with me, it was just starting off reading. I really wasn't no reader like that. Hood novels, you know what I'm saying?
Donna Goins books.
Yeah, Donna Goins and Gutter and Quan and all that. But now I had to really start reading different things. And Gold said, I didn't know nothing about no Gold said. I started reading books. and I had to take the initiative. And just like you said, like you got to take that initiative. And so down to my last question, I ask everybody who comes on the Reentry Journey podcast this question. If you had one word to describe your journey, what would that one word be and why?
If I had one word to describe my journey, what would that word be? That word would be hope. And why do I choose the word hope? The suicide rate in America is the way that it is because people lose hope. Hope is a fancy word of saying belief or faith, or they lose their hope, and they lose their will to keep fighting or their will to keep going on. And our hopes get dashed with people around us. I mean, I'm quite a few. You probably heard this when you was growing up, because I did. Oh boy, you ain't gonna be shit. You're gonna be just like your daddy.
Right.
You know, that's people dashing your hope. And my one word is hope, because everything I do is to return hope to the people. Hope that they could be successful. Hope that they could be good fathers. Hope that they can be good mothers. Hope that they could get out of prison and never return. Hope that they can get off of drugs. Hope that they could not be alcoholics. I want to give people back their hope, because once you got your hope, you can do anything.
There it is. One word is hope. So any last statements or anything that you want, information you want to give out before we end the podcast?
Man, I just want to tell everybody, man, go to LinkedIn and follow me. Go to Instagram and follow me. And go to TikTok and follow me. You can find me on all three platforms as David A. Gethers, DavidAGethers. I love my name, and I use it for everything that I do. They can email me. They can text me. My information is public. Go out there and find me and follow me and support what I'm doing and share what I'm doing with your family and your friends.
And there you have it. David, man, I really appreciate you coming on the Reentry Journey, sharing your journey and your knowledge and everything that you're doing. I definitely salute you. I look up to you. I sit back in the cut and I watch and I see how you really putting this thing together, and I learn things from you, and I really appreciate it. And man, I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you for being a guest on the Reentry Journey. Y'all make sure y'all go follow David. Y'all get the book WeakDay Remedies. Y'all reach out to him. I'm telling you, this brother has a lot to give, a lot to offer. So make sure y'all reach out to him. I am your host, Cardell Sims. This is another episode of the Reentry Journey. And remember, before we go, I got to give a shout out to my guy. Y'all always see me with the I'm So shirt on. Inspire, motivate, support others. I always have this clothing line. I'm a brand ambassador. But this brand ambassador is by my brother, David Walker. So make sure y'all tap in, get that I'm So. Inspire, motivate, and support others. That's what it stands for. This is another episode of the Reentry Journey. David, thanks for you coming in, sharing your journey. And again, remember this. Outgrow what you were born into. Never let the limitations of your background reduce the height of your potential. This is Reentry Journey. I'm Cardell Sims. Until the next time. Now that's game.
Peace.
600,000 prisoners are released from prison every year. And all we talk about is the recidivism rate, highlighting failures. But this is a new time now. It's time to celebrate. Time to admire. Time to honor those who got out of prison and never looked back. Doing something with themselves and their lives.